Chapter 12. Rules of Yosira. GLN 12:1. Yosira gathered his sons about him and spoke to them thus. These are the days of the Dawnlight, and I am the Dawnlighter from beyond Bashiru. I am the Torchbearer for the God of Gods. These are the laws which I made for my people in the land of Tewar, the laws of one speaking with the mouth of the God above all gods. GLN 12:2. He who places a spear or arrow within a dead body shall be accursed, and his hand and arm will become things of evil. They will swell up and become consumed by fire. Likewise shall be accursed who looses these weapons against another. But if it be a man of Tewar who looses the weapons, then he shall die by them himself, for he is beyond the reach of the curse. GLN 12:3. A tree that reaches up above twice the height of a man shall not be stricken for burning, or to take away its land, but if it be dedicated to the adze, and is then used by a craftsman in wood, then it may be stricken and cut. Trees are not things to be lightly dealt with, for they move the winds which cross the face of the earth, and generate these in great forests of the north and south. The slaughter of a tree is no less wrong than the slaughter of an ox or a sheep, for the same breath of life is in each. Therefore never bring them low wantonly. Are not trees held sacred by the people of this land? Is it not more reasonable to dedicate a mighty tree or a grove of trees to a god than a mute stone or object cut from wood? GLN 12:4. Therefore, when Yosira moved among the people, he did not forbid them their grave groves, nor did he silence the words of the woman who tended them. But Yosira said, These things are for women and not for men. Let the women bide, but men shall follow the callings of men, and their place is not among the grave groves. GLN 12:5. Now when Yosira came among the people, they dwelt away from the river, fearing the god of moving waters who molested them at night. But Yosira bound the god of moving waters, so he no longer troubled the people. Then Yosira bade them build their dwelling place beside the moving waters, decreeing that none should dwell beside still waters, unless the still waters be filled with life of fishes. GLN 12:6. In those days men sought to appease the formless ones and the spirits of the night with offerings and worship. GLN 12:7. But Yosira forbade them this, and he surrounded the whole land with a protective wall, which no dark spirit could penetrate, while all those within were dissolved, every dark spirit being neither male nor female, and every dark spirit which clothed itself in the shape of a beast or a bird was bound and cast back into the place of darkness. GLN 12:8. All men who were blood kindred with the beasts of the forest, or with fowl or with serpent, dwelt together according to their kinship, and were divided thereby. Yosira forbade them not their kinship, but did forbid the rule of blood. He spoke to the people in this manner. Great are the ties of that thing which binds men together and joins them with their forefathers, but greater still is each man in himself, his destiny lying within himself alone and not within his kindred. Man is not a drop of water in the stream of life, but a fish that swims within the stream. Yet insofar as these things have ever been, the 24 great kinships shall remain secured in their establishment. GLN 12:9. Before the coming of Yosira, a man could not take a wife, a woman of his own blood, but Yosira redeemed the land with blood, safeguarding it against barrenness. So henceforth men could take wives from among their own blood kindred, and the land remained fruitful. This, the spirit of life, became strong among men, for it was not spread out to become diluted and weakened. GLN 12:10. Until Yosira came, none in this land knew of Hoku, and it filled men with fear and awe. But Yosira revealed all its secrets to his sons, and the secrets are known even in these days. Hoku is that which sustains the dawn dwellers. It is but thinly spread throughout the earth, and before the days of Yosira, Men could gather it, storing it in stones and in sacred objects. It may be drawn upon by the spirits of men, as women draw water from a well. It is Hoku, which bestows fertility, causing flocks to multiply and crops to increase. Its secrets are known by the twice born. GLN 1211. Though in the days of his distress, Yosira called upon his father in Kanagamahu, he forbade his sons to call upon him. Likewise, for Yosira was their father on earth and their advocate in the hall of admission. Therefore none can call upon him with impunity, for if he dealt with them, he would neglect his task among the dawn dwellers. Nor is any man justified in calling upon the spirit of a departed one, for they are beyond concern for the everyday affairs of men. GLN 1212. When the sons of Yosira had established their rule over the people, the leaders of the people came to Yosira, desiring to make him their king, so he would rule over them. But when they came before him, Yosira replied to their wish in this manner: I am the mouth of the God of gods, and the light of my people. I will be the father of your king and the director of his footsteps, but your king I cannot be, for I am dedicated in the service to the God of gods. Saying this, Yosira then took his son, who was grown to manhood, and led him forth by the hand, giving him to the people to be their king. GLN 1213. Later, while the leaders and governors of the people still remained gathered after the anointing of their king, Yosira spoke to them as the mouth of God. He said, To judge justly between man and man is one of the greatest obligations of a king, and those who stand in his place. So from this day hence, judgment shall not be given by those who sit under the trees, listening to the words whispered among the leaves. However, if 3 men sit far apart and each gives alike judgment, the words from their mouths being the same, then the judgment shall be good. However, if it is a matter where a life can be forfeit or property taken away, a family divided, or a man or woman enslaved, then judgment shall be given only by the king, or by one who wears his mantle and bears his burden. GLN 1214. Sacred waters are living waters, filled with the power of Hoku, and shall no longer be used for any purpose other than sanctification and purification. No longer shall they be used to decide whether a wife be guilty of adultery. Henceforth, she shall be tested by the bitter drought alone. GLN 1215. He who eats the flesh of swine shall be accursed, for to eat the flesh of swine is to eat something dedicated to the fathers of men, and an abomination. Flesh of the ass shall not be eaten, for it diminishes the vigor of men. GLN 1216. Henceforth the bodies of the dead shall not be broken or burnt, for the Haku within them departs with the Lord of the body. Therefore nothing can be added unto a victorious one, by rendering up the essence of his earthly mantle through the flames of the fire. GLN 1217. The people shall not be denied their feasts, nor shall they be forbidden the rituals of fruitfulness. Their offerings to any god shall not be taken away. As the gods of the people are today, so shall they remain, for they serve their end. They may depict their gods after their own fashion, for the likeness of such gods is of small consequence. But the likeness of the God of gods shall not be fashioned by any man, for he is beyond the understanding of men. No man shall seek to find his likeness in water. GLN 1218. The festival to the God who draws up the land is not to be denied the people, but no longer shall they eat the flesh of asses, for now this is forbidden. The days for the feast of the forefathers shall not be diminished, lest the gift of long life be thereby curtailed. With them alone is the distribution of the life forces, and in their keeping are the powers granting fertility and good fortune. Unto those who control the sprouting of corn, the increase of herds, and the harvests of fishes, the potency of men and the fertility of women, success in hunting, and victory in war shall be given all due honor and worship. GLN 1219. He who causes injury or death, sickness or suffering by drawing the likeness of another in sand and piercing it with a fire-hardened stick, or who makes the likeness of another in wax to burn in the fire, or in clay to be pierced by stake or thorn, is henceforth accursed. He will be delivered to the lakim of disease or death. GLN 1220. He shall be accursed who mixes living grain with fat to enslave the earth shade of another man or woman. He shall be accursed who calls up the night shade of another, or the night frightener. All who are so accursed will be delivered to the lakim of sickness, or shall become the prey of formless ones. GLN 1221. It is not wrong to make an image of a breast child, that a woman may conceive, but to make the likeness of a man's private organ, so that a woman may conceive, is wrong, and any woman making or lying with such a likeness shall be accursed. She who is so accursed will be delivered to the lakim of sickness and pain. GLN 1222. When Yosira came up into Harphante, he found their people with strange customs, which displeased him. But he forbade them none except those which were evil in the sight of the God of gods. While there he laid a great curse upon any who transgressed his laws. GLN 1223. These were words spoken through the mouth of Yosira, which he caused to be recorded. Henceforth no maiden shall be enclosed in bark, and kept in darkness for 7 days before marriage. But she may be kept in seclusion among women. If she has to be purified, it must be done with water and not with fire. A woman shall never be mutilated to purge her wickedness. GLN 1224. Henceforth the private parts of young women shall not be sewn up to preserve their maidenhood. This shall remain in their own keeping, and in the keeping of the young woman's kindred in good faith and trust. To sew or cut the private parts of any woman is a great wickedness, for this is the portal of life, and woman is not an unworthy guardian. It is best that women remain maidens until their marriage day of their own free will and choice. But if because of the maiden's weakness this seems doubtful, then the obligation shall be on her kindred. GLN 1225. The custom of the Habshasti, whereby the legs of young women are bound together, after which young men may enter their chamber to lie with them, is a thing of wickedness and no longer permitted. Now if any man discover the nakedness of a maiden, he shall not go unpunished. GLN 1226. Man shall not see the nakedness of woman in childbirth, even though the woman be his wife. The hut of childbirth and all within its circle is a place forbidden unto men. Henceforth no woman shall be suspended at childbirth. GLN 1227. If the wife of a hunter lie with another man, while her husband is absent, so that he be slain or wounded during the hunt, then no wrong is done. If her husband or the kindred of her husband slay her, neither shall it be cause for blood slaying. If the kindred or husband slay he who lay with her. GLN 1228. The foreskin of a man is cut to defy the lakim of impotency. This is not forbidden to the people, but they shall not preserve the foreskin in fat, and use it to endow stones with haku. The binding of foreskins is forbidden. GLN 1229. Yosira laid the greatest of all curses upon those who captured and enslaved the lord of the body, belonging to another. Since that day none has done so and lived. He also laid a curse upon women who baked their newborn children and ate them because of the barrenness of the land. He also cursed the chief of the woman's kindred. GLN 1230. Before times that which grew to fullness within the wombs of cattle and sheep was sustenance for men alone. But when the beast cast it forth before its day, it became sustenance appointed for women. Yosira forbade this, and cursed all that came forth from the womb of beast before its time. GLN 1231. Yosira had these things recorded in Yapu. No child shall be slain willfully, saying our God has denied it proper sustenance. Above all gods is the God of gods, who is the God of life, and they who proclaim these things proclaim a falsehood against him. Yet they shall not be accursed until after the day when they have heard the laws of the God of God spoken unto them. Before then they have been led astray by those who should guide them, and on the leaders shall be the curse. GLN 1232. Henceforth the empty body shall not be bound tight against itself, but stretched out, for the earthly body cannot be reborn once its Lord has departed. The people shall not be forbidden the carrying of it, nor shall they be stopped from elevating it. But it shall not be hung over the living waters, lest it call forth a formless one in the darkness of the night. GLN 1233. If the kindred of a man come up to molest him at night, the nightshade shall be bound by the power of Haku, transmitted into a hollow log, filled with fire-retaining substances. The log will then be burnt in purifying fire, and the ashes buried after the fashion of your fathers. But the Haku shall not be given back. That Haku, which comes from a man whose crops and trees yield abundantly, is best. GLN 1234. The spirit of the life of men does not dwell in the moving waters, and therefore it cannot enter into a woman from the waters. Neither does her own water bear it up from the ground, even as a tree springs up from a single seed, and the barley from a single grain. So is it with the seed of men. That which forms within the womb of woman is not built up from many outpourings of men. Once will suffice, if the blood of a woman be not stopped, then she carry no child, for the life within is blood of her blood. GLN 1235. No man shall fashion the likeness of any beast to lay with it, so that his flocks and herds be increased. For henceforth he who does so, and all his beasts, shall be accursed, so they sicken and perish. Nor shall any man spill his seed into an object of wood or stone, and bury it. If he does so, then he be accursed, so that he is forever molested by the nightshades of terror. GLN 1236. It is foolishness to resort to the charmers who make likenesses of beasts, so their kind may be brought to the arrow and spear, unless he who seeks the wild beast be empowered with the Haku gathered by the kindred of his habitation. Naught can guide his steps or strengthen his arm, neither will his eyes see keenly. The success of the hunter is not to be found with the charmers, but lies in the goodness and uprightness of the kindred within his habitation. GLN 1237. If a woman take seed from a young man and deliver it to the charmers, so that barrenness be removed from her, then she and the youth, and if she bear any children, they also shall be accursed. The young man will be seized by the lakim which feasts on the hearts of men, and the woman by those which tear open the bowels. GLN 1238. It is an abomination in the sight of the God of gods for men to debauch themselves, and all who do shall be accursed. Those who would debauch themselves for the sake of their God may instead make an offering of their foreskin, and this will be acceptable by any god. The prayer of thankfulness that they are not born women shall be made at the time of sacrifice upon the altar. GLN 1239. The excreta of man and woman shall never be left exposed to the eyes of anyone, nor in a place where its smell can come to the nostrils. Nor shall anyone pass water where another can smell it, for they whose nostrils the smell enters thereby gain power over the other. The smell from human waste draws up the formless lambada, which afflict men and women at night and turn their bowels to water. GLN 1240. No offering of meat shall be eaten raw. It shall be roasted before fire, and the bones pounded into flour and eaten with meal. If the offering be consumed within a dwelling place, then the blood which has been spared must be smeared upon the doorpost, so that the dark shades of the night haunters and the death-bringers be repulsed by the power of life. GLN 1241. It is the duty of a son to provide sustenance for a departed one, who was his mother or his father, and he shall not neglect his brother or his sister, or any of his kinsfolk who lack children. If he be neglectful of his duty, he shall not escape molestation by the earth shades of the departed ones, which will wander relentlessly until satisfied, If formless ones be called forth by neglect, so that they reach stability on earth, they will haunt the dark watches of the night and suck life-filled blood to sustain their awful forms. No man may keep them from his dwelling, for they will slide in stealthily, even as snakes. GLN 1242. It is wrong for charmers to call forth dark spirits. Any charmer so doing within the borders of the enlightened land shall be accursed, so he be seized by the night fiend. If such be done, and the dark spirits wander out of control, then one of the twice born shall be called upon to return them to their dark abode. GLN 1243. It is not sufficient for men to shun the ways of wickedness, for unless the Lord of the body be clothed in brightness, they who watch for him in the land of the dawning will wait in vain. Those who lack that which would bring them into the place of light will fall prey to the lords of the dark places, and be forever lost to those who love them. GLN 1244. All those who are awakeners of the dead shall be accursed and delivered to the Lakim of madness. If any of my people deal with them, then they too shall be accursed, so that they become prey to the terrors of the night. It is futile to consult the departed ones, for what can they do but advise on matters of little import? If they have anything of importance to impart, they will come unbidden to men of understanding and make it known. GLN 1245. When Yosira came with his sons and those with them into the true land of Tamaru, he strove with the people of Kantiyamato, who followed the ways of wickedness and ignorance. He remained among the people of Tamaru during the days of Gabu, dwelling at the place where now stands the temple of the Sky Seer, and an abode of reeds by the moving waters. GLN 1246. In those days the people of earth united themselves with those who were in the land of morning light by the powers within the body of a woman child, seeking in this manner to preserve the haku of their kindred. When Yosira saw the wickedness of the custom, he placed a great curse upon all the land, and upon those who split the body of a woman child, so that her flesh cried out from within them. Therefore the land became stricken with a great plague. Since then never has anyone in the enlightened lands eaten the flesh of a man or woman, and no woman child is violated in the great wickedness of ignorance. The people of Tamaru greatly feared the curse of Yosira. GLN 1247. Yosira taught the people that the power of Haku resided not in the flesh of the body, but in the bones, and that each bone contained the essence of all the being, man and woman. Then the people began to seek union with the departed ones in the land of the morning light, by the power of the bones, and Yosira forbade this not, though he knew it was futile. But where there was healing in the bones, and they were able to draw it forth, Yosira was not displeased, for all things pertaining to the good of the people were well in his sight. Nevertheless, he forbade to women the burden of the bones of their husbands, and since then no shades have risen to molest them. This was because of the protecting power which he drew forth to fill all the land. It relieved the women of their burden, raising it from their backs. GLN 1248. All the charmers who brought forth shades from the land of dawning, and all the questioners of the dead and the awakeners of the dead, were cursed. And this curse hovers over the land even to this day. Yet there are still some who seek to call forth a shade from the swathed body, made eternal, but all they raise up is an ill-omened messenger from the place of darkness. GLN 1249. Yosira did not forbid to the people the rites of homage, due to their departed kinsfolk, for in the place of morning light, these were the powers most interested in the welfare of any mortal man. Yosira never forbade anything that was to the benefit of men, taking away not but the things which were futile or harmful. In those days there were no rights of written record, but Yosira caused them to be given to the people, not so that these should renew life in the departed ones upon earth, but so that the Lord of the body should be sustained and strengthened in the place of the morning light, by the link of Haku sacrificed by those remaining on earth. GLN 1250. Yosira spoke to the people, giving them laws which were recorded in this manner. These are words of the God of gods, who created man and beast upon the sacred island. No beast shall be mated with another, not of its kind. And if this happen, then both shall be slain, and their bodies burnt. If this be done with the permission of a man, that man will be accursed. Neither shall any beast be yoked together with another, not of its own kind. During the first year of its life, no beast shall be made to take up the burden of man. GLN 1251. When Yosira came to Cambuses, he found there a man of the Hastebwes, bound and prepared for sacrifice, and he cried out against the deed, but none gave ear to his words. So standing off, Yosira placed a staff of power upright into the ground and danced around it, singing the song for drawing forth the spirit. When they saw this, the people were wroth against him and called upon their charmers to curse him. So he departed from the earth. Their curses were ineffective, and when one charmer approached the dance ring of Yosira, Yosira called forth a tongue of flame, which consumed the charmer. Then the people became afraid and fled. So Yosira released the man who was bound upon the place of sacrifice. But he was not yet whole. Yosira also cursed all those who offered the Hastebwes as a sacrifice to their gods. Since that day no man of the Hastebwes was ever slain upon the altars. GLN 1252. Yosira did not curse the charmers of that place. Instead he called them to him and gave them dominion over the dark spirits, which left their abode to wander earth, molesting men in their habitation. Thus the charmers became greater in the eyes of the people, and from that day onward they have cleansed the land of all dark spirits. However, Yosira forbade them the calling forth of the Lord of the body from any man, so that he became the servant of another, and he placed a great curse upon any charmer who disobeyed this law. Yet this is done even now. But those who transgress the laws of Yosira do not escape the awful fate due to them, for his power is yet potent in the lands of his people. When the transgressors stand before him in awful judgment, their deeds will witness against them. GLN 1253. Yosira forbade those who sat in judgment the right to judge men by the fat of crocodiles or by the horn or skin. Instead, he revealed to them the manner of making judgment through corn, and by the burning sword. He also taught them how to brew drink, which loosened the bonds from the tongues of men, so that truth was no longer restrained. GLN 1254. The people dwelling among the trees along the banks of the moving waters lived in fear of tree apes. They held these sacred and would never harm them. They believed that these tree apes snatched the departing lord of the body and ate it, that they lurked in wait to catch it in a mighty, unseen net. So Yosira went about cursing the food reserved for the tree apes, so that it became fire in their bellies, causing the life within them to come up as foam out of their mouths. Thus the land was freed from fear of the tree apes, and henceforth the departed ones have gone in peace, no longer being molested by the tree apes.